Hey everyone, Keith Carlson here, also known as Nurse Keith, Nurse Career Coach, and I am here today to talk with you about job interviews. That's right, job interviews. And what I want to talk about today specifically is that moment in an interview where the interviewer says, "So, do you have any questions for me? What would you like to know?" One of the worst things you can possibly do in that moment is say, I don't really have any questions for you, thanks. I'm all set. I'm good. What you want to do is show interest, you want to show curiosity, and what I want to drive home here, very importantly, is that an interview is a two-way street. It is absolutely a two-way street. You don't want this to be a one-way conversation. So when you have the opportunity to ask questions, this is where the two-way street is fully operationalized. All right. So you want to go in with some questions ready. And these can be, canned questions that you ask at every interview, or you may actually have some specific questions for this particular employer about this particular position. So you want to be thoughtful about this, go over the position very carefully, look at the company or the organization or facility very closely, and think about some salient questions you can ask that demonstrate your curiosity, demonstrate your intelligence, your sensitivity, your understanding of what they're all about, and also get your questions answered. So, what are some good questions to ask when the interviewer says, "So, do you have any questions for me, Keith?" Well, one thing you can ask is, "So, can you tell me what some of the central values are that drive this organization?" That's an interesting question because the person might come up short and might not be able to tell you, or they might actually tell you some interesting things about the company, like they value collaboration, or they value praise, or they value encouragement and education. These are good things to know. You can also ask them about any recent changes that have happened at the organization. You can say, "So, can you tell me, has anything changed in the last year that you think is significant, that you think are changes for the better, that you think are making this organization a better place to work or a more effective company or facility?" You can ask about what you might be learning on the job and what lessons they feel that might be most salient for you in this particular position. You can also say, "So, is there anything I should be asking you that I haven't asked you yet?" That's an interesting question, and it might get them to reveal something about the organization or facility that maybe you didn't think of. So that's not a bad question to ask. You can ask how your success will be measured. What are the analytics that they'll be looking at? And apropos of that, you can ask what the performance review process is like. You can just say, "How will my success be measured? How often do you have performance review interviews or opportunities? And how is that documented and how is it done?" You can ask about the company culture, which ties into that question about values. And, you might get an interesting response that tells you something about the organization. You can ask why, if you're replacing someone, you can ask why your predecessor left. That's fair game. They may not want to tell you, they may not have much to say about it, or maybe you're not replacing someone, so that won't be an apropos question. You can ask about their expectations. You can ask about your peers, the people who are kind of like on the same level in the organization as you. You can ask about their successes, what they see as the ideal employee, what do they look for in their most successful employees, or what have the most successful employees demonstrated on the job that they think are highly valuable. You can ask about the top skills you'll be learning if that's not clear to you yet. You can also ask about the makeup of the team if that isn't yet clear to you. Who you'll be working for, who you'll be working with, who reports to you, who are your direct reports if you have any, and who you will be reporting to. So asking about the chain of command is a completely fair question. You can also ask them, you can say, so tell me about your favorite part of working for this organization. What do you really love about it? So these are some questions you can ask when you're in an interview and you're asked what questions you have. Just be prepared. If you can have some very targeted, specific questions about them, all the better, because your targeted, specific questions will demonstrate that you've done your homework and you understand who they are and what they're all about. So go in prepared, have some questions ready. You can use the same questions every time in your interviews, but again, if you can have some specific organizational questions that are very appropriate for this particular employer, all the better. So good luck in your interviews, knock them dead, go have some success in your job interview process, and let me know how it goes.